Cynt Marshall's a star.
Oh, Lord.
It is. She's a star. I was with you. I seen people asking for your autographs down at the gas game. Does it feel that way?
I'm just nice.
You're nice, but you're a star.
I'm just nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
and I love people, and people know when you love them.
Yes.
And so then they want to be around you, and
Yeah.
But it's the Mavs.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a great team.
How do you like hold it in though, like that stardom when you're going around? You always have that smile on you, and you're taking pictures. You're doing it like that energy. Where does it come from?
It's a blessing. It comes from God.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's part of it's a ministry. I mean, the fact that I get to do the job I do, touch people, impact lives, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I'm blessed every day when somebody walks up to me. And if they want to talk to me, like, I'm blessed.
Yeah.
And so I don't take it lightly, because it could be the opposite, where people run if they see you or they shy away from it. So, no, I'm blessed.
Yeah.
And so that's the way I look at it.
Absolutely.
And I have this prayer I do every morning. And part of the prayer is, and I've prayed this prayer for probably 40 years, ever since I was a professional. So over 40 years, I guess, 2 years?
Mm-hmm.
And the part of the prayer is, Lord, keep me humble.
Yeah.
And so I just want to stay humble and love the people and do what he wants me to do. So I never let the press clippings or the magazine covers go to my head.
I think of my grandma when you say that though, because she's always said, don't start smelling yourself.
No, you can't. You can't believe all that. I mean, I believe, what God says.
Yeah.
And so, and that, to be nice to people and to treat people right and to just try to live a life. I mean, I don't get it right every day, but to try to live a life where people want to talk to you and they want to hear what you have to say and they just want to be around your spirit.
Yeah.
And the minute that doesn't happen, like if I'm having a bad day or something, I have to check myself, because that's just what I'm supposed to do in this world.
Yeah.
Is, be nice to people and help people.
Absolutely. Well, listen, we're here at the Pro Sports Assembly event, and they're nice to you because you have an award named after you, the Marshall Award for Values.
Is that crazy?
It's not crazy.
Now, that is crazy. I mean, this is probably, I think, the third time that's happened to me where an award was named after me.
Yeah.
And every time it happens, I just start crying when I read it. I said, this is crazy.
Are you going to cry?
No, I cried when I heard about it.
Okay.
I won't cry tonight.
No.
But I'm really excited. I don't know if I can disclose who's getting the award, but
No,
I'm real excited to present that award to her. But to have an award named after me, that's amazing.
If you had to describe that in one word, is that what you would pick? Amazing?
It is amazing.
Yeah.
It is amazing. And the fact that it's the Values Award, because if I want to be known for anything, it's values.
Yeah.
And just trying to live out our values at the Mavs: character, respect, authenticity, fairness, teamwork, and safety, both physical and emotional safety. So that's what we're about. We're trying to perfect our craft. So just having an award named after me, somebody is saying, oh my goodness, I got close to perfecting those crafts.
Yeah. Well, you deserve it, though. I mean, I've seen you in action. I've seen the way people admire you. I've seen you when the guy drops a beer, and I've seen what you've done.
You were with me.
I
when
was
that
with
happened.
you. Absolutely,
That's
I was
right.
with you.
That's
And
right.
so, I know that you deserve that, right? And
Thank you.
you're not even letting it get to your head, and that's great.
No,
Yeah.
I'm more excited about presenting the
Yeah.
award, because the person I'm presenting it to, she has such a prestigious law career, and then, honestly, as an act of service, came over to the National Basketball Players Association.
Yeah.
So
Well, now you already said it's
so
Michelle
you,
Roberts,
so you
right?
know who I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking
Absolutely.
about. And so I'm so excited to present this award, just thinking about what she represents and just what she's done for our industry and for sports in general, for women, for Black women, how she has really taken to heart what the players need, and she represented them, and just all of it. So you'll hear me talk about it. I told them I need more than 2 minutes. I need about 5 minutes.
Absolutely.
Because I got to talk about this system.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, listen, we talk about you, right? First
Okay.
Black female to run an NBA team as a CEO position. Has
Yes.
that feature escaped your mind? Because again, you're so humble, and has that left your mind that you're not trying to just be known as the first, but the first of many?
Correct. I just have a job to do. I didn't even know I was the first until I was in a similar interview like this. And he asked me, how does it feel to be the first Black female CEO of an NBA team? And at the time, it was 2019, so I was about a year into the job. I said, there's no way I'm the first. It's 2019. I shouldn't be the first of anything, Black or woman, in 2019. But it was true. And the way I look at it is, first of all, my boss was not trying to make history when he put me in this job. Mark Cuban was really trying to make a difference for his employees. And so when I heard about that, I said, okay, I won't be the last. I mean, and it's not even pressure. I mean, that's what I carry, and it's a great thing to carry, that I have to do a great job so that people won't even think twice about somebody who looks like me being in the job that I'm in. And then people will want people who look like me and who look like everybody to do a job. We won't be excluded.
Yeah.
And so I try to do a great job every day, and then I try to make sure I'm not the last.
Yeah.
To focus on that pipeline of women and men, that pipeline of people of color and not of color, just everybody. So really trying to practice inclusion. And that's what I think I represent. And so that's what I carry with it.
Well,
and I just have a job to do.
Yeah.
You know I have a
well,
job
you're doing
to do.
it very well.
I'm
You're doing
trying.
very well.
I'm
Absolutely.
trying. We have a good results, but I have a great team. I have a great team.
Yeah. Well, diversity and inclusion, I know that's a big thing. We'll definitely get to that in a minute. I was talking to Hugh Weber, the president of the Seattle Sounders, and he was saying how the Pro Sports Assembly Awards, how it's so important, this organization, because of networking, because of career building.
Yes.
You agree with that?
Oh, I agree with that. Here's what we set out to do. Okay, our motto is united in game plan, diverse in counsel. Mm-hmm. And so what we tried to do, we had a vision. Cassandra Carr, Laura Dixon, myself, we had a vision that said we needed to just come together. We needed to bring all leagues together. So this wasn't just an NBA thing. All leagues together to focus on the pipeline. We want to make sure we have a diverse pipeline, an inclusive culture, equitable work practices. We said we need a place where all the leagues can come together, develop that leadership pipeline, do research, provide an opportunity for networking, for professional development. We have all kind of good stuff. And you'll hear about it over, tonight.
Yeah.
We got the huddle. We've got the pro C-suite stuff going on. I mean, just pouring into people and developing that pipeline. Yeah. That's what it's all about. And what I love about it, we're all doing it together. You will see everybody. People who look like everybody. We're all represented. And at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's about representation and inclusion.
Yeah. Take me when you first got into sports, 2018, right?
Okay,
when Mark called you and,
February 21st, 2018.
Yeah. What was and you sound like you remember that call.
I remember the call. Well, I remember the day too.
Yeah.
Because the day was impactful. I got up that morning and wrote a blog and posted it called Impact. And the ACT was capitalized at the end. And it was because some big things were going on in the world that day. Reverend Dr. Billy Graham had passed away at 99 years old, who impacted my life growing up. And then these teenagers, they were protesting in Parkland, Florida because of gun violence. And so I'm watching these teenagers and this 99-year-old having this impact on me, and I'm smack dab in the middle age-wise. And I had been retired for about maybe 10 months or whatever from AT&T, started my own consulting company, but really was sitting there thinking about what impact am I going to have? Like, what's the next move? I wrote this blog, I posted it on a call with the client, and then all of a sudden I got this text message. And it was ultimately from Mark Cuban. Yeah. And
did you know his number? Like, was it saved in your phone or was it weird?
No, I did not know him.
Okay. So did you think it was a prank?
So don't judge me. Yeah, okay, I'll actually tell you what I thought it was, okay? Because my phone was going off and I was on a call with my client. So I have 4 kids. 2 were in college at the time. So I actually handed my husband the phone and I said, one of the kids need money. Because I thought it was one of the kids. And so, they do that. They text mom because they need money. And he came back and he said, you need to get off that call. This dude doesn't need any money. He said, it's Mark Cuban trying to reach you. Something's going on here in Dallas. And so I ended up talking to him. We connected that evening. And he just told me what was going on, very sincere about, wanting to transform the culture of his organization. Had gotten my name, I guess, from a few people. And I told him I'd pray about it. I was very touched by our conversation, but still hadn't decided to do it yet. I said I wanted to go home and pray about it because, I'm trying to pray about everything. And 2 women stopped me as I was leaving his office and said, are you the one who Mark Cuban said is going to come and work with us, blah, 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 blah. And I said, well, I'm going to go home and pray about it. And then they told me their stories. And Mark had encouraged me to talk to them when I was leaving his office. And they approached me, and I kind of looked at him. He said, please go and talk to them. He was responding to his folks that day. And so after they told me their stories, I went home and prayed about it. Came back the next day. I was in the building for a couple of hours before Mark even knew that I had come back. Because as soon as I walked in, employees, took me into the conference room, and they were just talking to me about different things. And I just fell in love with them immediately. And then the rest is history.
Yeah.
He came in the conference room. He said, I guess the answer is yes. I said, yes, it is.
Yeah.
And we've been together on a mission for the past, a little over 5 years now.
Absolutely, yeah. So 5 years in, it's the biggest thing you've learned about being CEO of a major sports franchise.
Oh, my goodness. There was just so much. I knew I didn't know the business of basketball, but I didn't know how much I didn't know. And Mark wasn't worried about that. He wanted a leader. But, I'm used, I worked in a place, I worked at AT&T for 36 years. So I'm used to knowing my stuff, from climbing poles, out with my crew and all that. So it was difficult at first, really being in a place where I didn't know the subject matter, but I knew my job was to serve. And, I have my 3L leadership, philosophy that you know about: listen to the people, learn from the people, and love the people. Yeah. I said, if I do that extremely well, I will be okay. We put together a diverse leadership team. I have an amazing, amazing leadership team. You know some of them. And so we just said we need to do what we need to do. We put together an external advisory council. So the Dallas Mavericks Advisory Council, about 25, 30 people, just out in different parts of Dallas, different parts of the region, academia, business, chambers, et cetera, and the community leaders, and they advise us on our business. We run things by them. So we put that in place. We put a set of values in place, those crafts. And then we laid out a vision, and a vision that said we would set the global standard for diversity and inclusion by the end of that year. Yeah. And so we just all rallied together. I had one-on-ones with every single employee. My colleagues from the league, across the league, they were calling me, blowing up my phone. They came out to visit to just make sure that I knew what I needed to know. Matt Goodman, they call him Goody, Goody. He was our NBA rep. He was on site with Amy Brooks a lot, just making sure that I knew the business of basketball. So there wasn't any of this, who is this woman coming in? She's from telecommunications. She doesn't know basketball. We don't want her to be successful. It was just the opposite. Yeah. People went overboard to make sure I knew what I needed to know, while also trying to instill a new culture and conduct, 2 investigations. Yeah.
What was it like growing up in California?
Okay, and I did grow up in California. I'm an East Bay girl. I'm a San Francisco Bay Area girl. I'm a Richmond, Berkeley girl, okay? But I was actually born in Birmingham, Alabama. So my parents left Birmingham when I was 3 months old. So your civil rights history, the 16th Street Baptist Church. That was one of my mother's churches, okay? So when I think about those 4 girls who lost their lives in that bombing, and of course 2 others later, I think about that every day. Okay, so those are my roots. Most of my relatives are in Birmingham. And so they left there to go to the Bay Area because they wanted something different for their children, 4 at the time, now 6. And so I got a great education. Yes, I grew up in a public housing project. I saw all kind of crazy stuff. You know the story, okay? But I really did have a good childhood. We had a lot of things going on. My mother, was the victim of domestic violence. You can read my book, and I know you have it in your hand there. So this stuff, but I don't dwell on that. I really try to dwell on the good stuff. And my mother put 2 books in my hand at an early age, a math book in one hand and a Bible in the other, and said, if you keep your head in these 2 books, you will make it out. Now, at the time, I'm a kid, so I don't know what out means. But now I know. It meant just out of, poverty, out of the projects and all that. And so I got a great education. I had teachers and principals invest in me. I had police officers invest in me. One actually took me to school when I was in the 7th grade after an incident in our neighborhood, in our house. And so I just had great people pouring into me. Yeah. And I ended up, smart kid, so I ended up getting 5 full scholarships to the college of my choice. Yeah. And I chose the #1 public institution in the world. Berkeley, the University of California at Berkeley. And I chose it not because it's the top institution in the world, but because it was close to home. Yeah. And I wanted to be close to home. I didn't want to leave my mother. And I got a great education, put my boyfriend on hold for 4 years, did what I needed to do, joined a sorority, had a great college experience, and then got 13 job offers and went to work for AT&T. Yeah. And then I called that boy the day I graduated. I kept my promise. Yeah. I did call him the day I graduated. Absolutely. Yes. He tried to act like he was engaged. We just celebrated 40 years of marriage.
Wow.
So
What's the key? What's the key?
Okay, here's the key to 40 years of marriage. He has a life, I have a life, and we have a life together. Yeah. I didn't give up any of who I am to be married, and he didn't give up who he is, to be married to me. I am responsible for my own happiness. He is responsible for his happiness. And then together, we're doubly happy. Mm-hmm. So that's the key.
Yeah. When you were going through Berkeley, you remember the biggest thing you've learned that helped you today as a CEO?
Yes, preparation. You have to prepare. You have to study. You have to dig in. My freshman year at Berkeley was not easy. I was a straight A student growing up. And so I didn't have to study a whole lot. And, I was math, engineering, science person, and it just all came easy. And then I got to Berkeley, you get to college, there's a difference. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden, I've got to spend all this time in Moffitt Library and just really get down to business. Yeah. And so I realized the value of preparation, that things aren't going to come easy. Even things that maybe came easy in the past, at some point, you got to just really dig in and you got to prepare to do well. And so that's what I do. Even now, my team will tell you, I'm all about preparation. I want to know what's going on. I want to dig in. I just don't rely on some of the skills and gifts that I have. You have to prepare. And so that's what I learned. I also learned about community. Mm-hmm. I was in a sorority. I was the only Black in my sorority. I learned about inclusion a long time ago and about cultures working together. And I learned that we have more in common than we have differences. And so I learned that in college. Yeah. I learned a lot at Berkeley. It's not just a great academic institution. I learned a lot as a person.
Yeah. How about at AT&T, the biggest thing you've learned there that helped you prepare for your role now?
My 3 L's of leadership that I talked about earlier, the value of listening to people, listening to employees, hearing what they're saying, but more importantly, what they're not saying. Really learning from them, being okay not knowing things and having them teach you things. And frankly, sometimes, even if they don't teach you, just being okay not knowing it, and then loving the people. I truly learned the value of loving people, not as employees, but that person who gets up out of bed in the morning, the issues they have, the baggage they have, the dreams they have, to love all of that. And that's what I want to walk in my doors. And so I learned that at AT&T. If you love these employees as people, you'll get the most out of them. Mm-hmm. And then I learned how to get stuff done because we had a lot to get done. We had a very changing industry, just like the industry I'm in now. It's a changing industry. The competitive landscape was changing all the time. And so I learned how to navigate through all the changes.
Yeah. Well, we're in this industry now, right? Going inside of the Mavs. I mean, there's a lot going on. The first piece that a lot of people in our business are talking about is the RSN piece, right? What are you looking at when you see what's going on in the RSN business?
Well, for a while, it took me a minute to figure it out. I mean, I come from an industry where, people are cutting the cord and all that. So that piece I understood. But I didn't know exactly how we were going to respond to all that. And obviously we have, there are legal issues going on. And so they're trying to work through all that. But I'm excited now. I mean, even though things are changing, I'm excited about what could happen with us. I mean, the opportunity to have more people watching our games internationally because we'll be able to stream it all over the place. I mean, we're dealing with some of it now where we get some complaints because customers can't watch us, but I think we're going to get past that. Yeah. We're going to get past that.
Yeah. So it doesn't concern you at all where it is, where it's headed?
Oh, no. Nothing concerns me. I'm actually, our industry is so dynamic. That's the word I would describe. And we have people who want to be a part of it. That's actually something I really learned is, I kind of fell into this, right? I got a phone call. But there are people who are like sports majors or who are, they've worked in this industry for a long time. They understand this industry. And so people who are here want to be here. And it's so exciting. We have creative people. We've got all generations involved in this. And I'm just waiting for us to really be turned loose because I think the answer is out there. There's so much innovation out there, like at the Mavs. We're really looking at data and analytics to just inform us, to tell us how we better serve our fan base, to tell us how we better serve our international audience. I mean, we have, 7 or 8 international players? I mean, this is a global game, which I'm really excited. We will be playing in Abu Dhabi in October. This is a global game for us. And so how do we tap into the international space? And the NBA has done a great job putting together an international program to really help the teams, bring in sponsors and look at the international base. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about our new sponsors that we have, new partnerships that we have. About our social justice program, Mavs Take Action. We get calls almost every day from partners out there saying we want to be a part of that. So right now we have TIA, Shift Key, Chime, Coca-Cola, different ones wanting to be a part of what we are doing. And, we do a lot in that space. So to watch just how our industry touches everybody, and it touches just about everything. I'm a big public policy person, and I look at how we influence also what's going on there, how our players step up and respond to what's happening in the public policy environment, in the social justice environment. This industry has everything in it, everything. And so I'm excited about it.
Absolutely.
You can probably tell.
I can, but you're always excited, though. You're always excited.
I am.
How do you deal with when someone is attacking the brand? Like, what's your technical steps to make sure that it doesn't, the brand doesn't suffer severe damage? And I'm referring to when the Mavs got, fined by the NBA for the alleged tanking and all of that. I don't know how many phone calls you got from corporate sponsors because they don't want to be associated with things like that.
I got them.
You got them. Right? How do you deal with that?
Okay, here's what I deal with. And it's actually one of the things that I learned at AT&T. I'll send this to you one day. Mm-hmm. I have this list of 15 things. I have 15 jobs at AT&T, so 13,088 days. And I learned something extremely valuable in every single one of them. And one job in particular, when I was leading our regulatory environment in San Francisco, I was leading it for California, was to protect the brand. And you protect the brand at all costs. You never lie, so you have integrity, and that's part of the brand. You know what your values are, so you make decisions based on the brand, character, respect, authenticity, fairness, teamwork, and safety. They're just not on the walls, but they operate in the halls. And so that's my go-to spot. I go to our values. I look at our decisions, and I say, okay, do I think what we did comports with our values? Most of the time is yes. And if I think there's like room for some discussion, internally we have that discussion. We don't just say, okay, we're going to just blow off these people that are calling us. We respond to everybody who calls us. In a situation like that, I will get involved and I will call the fans because that's important. We respect them. We honor them. Their voices matter. Our workplace promise is every voice matters and everybody belongs. That includes our fans. Yeah. That includes our sponsors. So when they call, we'll respond. If we need to make changes, we will. If we need to explain something, we will. If we have one or two where it's just so out of line and they're not seeing it the way we're seeing it and we believe they're wrong, we will respectfully agree to disagree. But we respect every single call that we get.
Well, what was the response from the corporate partners? Were they mad or were they upset?
Actually, it was less than I thought. We have this whole spreadsheet, and I still keep it on my desk because I want to make sure even when the season starts, we're responding. We only lost just a few. We lost just a few.
Because of that?
Yes, but people wanted to just talk. They wanted to understand it. And sometimes you can't explain it in the moment. Sometimes maybe people don't really truly understand it, but we'll talk about it. And so they, some expressed their concerns, and then some they were just opposite. We had a lot who said, I understand what you guys are doing and all that. And nobody really knows, what we did. Yeah. We just, some decisions were made. Yeah.
Did you call Mark like, hey, can you not do that ever again? Or did he call you and apologize? He said, I did not mean to put you out there.
Now, I am not going to tell you about my conversations with my boss. Yeah. But we always have good conversations. He sits right there, baseline. And so I'm, right up from him. We were together one day, so you know where we are. And so we always have eye contact. We text, all that. So we're communicating all the time.
Right. Yes. So when you're looking, right, and you're going and you get past that. Yes. Now we talk revenue, right? Yes. It's a $3+ billion franchise, yes. Over $300 million in revenue. Yes. How do you grow that? Where is the new lines of streams coming from, especially after you max out ticketing and the sponsorships? Like, where's that new money coming from?
Right. Well, we still haven't maxed out ticketing. I think what we have to do is figure out how to, and we're using data and analytics and some tools. Matt Goodman is leading that whole effort for us to really take the data and say, okay, what are the buying habits? What do our fans really want that we're not giving them? And of course, we're going to monetize it. Some things you'll get for free. What kind of services should we provide them? What's our e-commerce strategy? What kind of sponsors are out there that we haven't even tapped into, partners that we haven't tapped into? And that's where all the data and the analytics will come in. And so we mine through all of that. And then our international piece, I think, is big for us. I don't think we have scratched the surface on what we should do. internationally. And then, of course, with streaming and all the opportunities we have in this space, I just think there's a lot to tap into.
Anything coming up in 2024 season that people can look forward to?
Well, I think you'll see some, I won't give it away, but I think you'll see some different features in our arena.
It's going through a renovation right now.
It's going through a renovation, and you'll be excited about. But even the way we're going to serve some of our fans in there, we're going to focus more on just the ones courtside. So you'll see a lot of different fan experiences. We'll expand our theme nights, so tapping more into our community. I think you'll see an e-commerce strategy executed on, which will be great. You'll see us do a lot in the online space. We're going to do a lot more because, we have 19,200 people that can fit in our arena. Sometimes maybe up to 20,000, depends on how we configure it. But we have millions of customers. Most of our fans are not in our building. And so you will see us do a lot more to reach out to those fans.
Yeah. Leadership pipelining inside the organization. Anything that you're doing differently that maybe other teams and franchises can learn from when you talk about leadership, advancing people of color, advancing women? Is anything that the Mavs are doing different?
Oh, yeah. We're still very focused on making sure we have everyone represented at our table. So my leadership team, I'll just start with that, is 50% women and 50% people of color. And not just so we can rattle off those numbers, but we believe in the business case that's associated with that we just have more creativity, more innovation, more insight into people when we have all that representation at the table. And so you will see that at every table below my table. So we're very, very focused on that. We went to a new structure. So I no longer have 14 direct reports. I remember you and I talked about that. It was so much. So now I have 7 direct reports. So there are 8 around on the senior leadership team. We put a chief revenue officer and chief operating officer structure in place, which is working extremely well. Extremely well.
And the chief revenue officer, Theo, it's a black
Theo
woman.
Hodges, yes.
Absolutely. Help a sister out, right? I mean, that alone is
That's
something
what we
that you
do.
absolutely
That's what we
you push that philosophy for years.
That's right.
When I say diversity and inclusion, or inclusion diversity, whatever you want, however you want to phrase it, what comes to mind?
Well, it's interesting because sometimes I still, consult with people. I get calls all the time about this whole space. And for years, I have said, lead with inclusion. This is about creating an inclusive culture. And, I always say, and we've heard it before, and I didn't invent this, okay? Diversity is being invited to the party. Inclusion is being asked to dance. You can have all these people at the table, but not include them. And so what we're trying to do is really create an inclusive culture. And it's about fairness. So I've kind of coined a new phrase that says the fee for admission, FEE. It's about fairness, it's about equality, and it's about engagement for everybody. And that's what we'll be focused a lot on. Our Mavs Take Action social justice program, we're at the end of that 3 years. So we're talking now about, what are the big initiatives that, sponsors and partners really embraced that we can take to another level. What are the things that will just go kind of naturally into our community space? And then what are the new things? What are the new things going on out there that we believe we need to respond to and be a leader for our region? I mean, we are the leader. The Mavs are leading in this space, which is awesome.
Absolutely. Now, leaving outside of the Mavs and looking at the whole overall NBA picture, right?
Yes.
You're on calls with Adam Silver all the time. He probably talks to team presidents and CEOs more than he talks to the owners.
Yes, he's very engaged.
Absolutely. You guys are involved in the business.
Yes.
If you had to describe the NBA and the state of the NBA in one word, what would it be?
Well, I think I said it earlier. Dynamic.
Dynamic. Why dynamic?
It's very dynamic. It changes in a good way. And so I think more changes are to come. I don't even think we can anticipate everything that's coming. It's like kind of that behind the back pass, you don't even look. It's just coming, okay? And we just got to be ready for it. It changes every day.
Last thing for me, when you think about this book you've written, right?
You've been chosen. That's me.
Yeah, this is your baby. Right?
Yes, that's my baby.
You think about everything, all the life lessons you've been through, right?
Yes.
Overcoming cancer. What's Cynt Marshall's superpower?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I have a couple of superpowers. Okay, one is my memory. I have a great memory, and you'll see a story. You'll read a story in the book about when I got chemo brain, and I could remember my daughter's name, and it was devastating. And it was especially devastating because I have a great memory, and I rely on that memory. But that memory also helps me think about where I came from and think about all the things that the Lord has blessed me to overcome, all the people in my life, past and present, who shaped me. And so that memory really is my superpower. And I focus on the good stuff. I focus on that. I think my superpower is also the ability to truly love people as people. I don't get hung up on a lot of stuff, okay, because I know we're all human, we're all people, and we're, for the most part, we're all in here just trying to make this world better. And so that's my superpower. I have the ability to focus and weed out distractions so we can go and get this good stuff done.
Absolutely.
And the Lord has just surrounded me with great people. So they're the real superpowers.
Yeah. Well, you have the superpower to smile. You're a star.
You are too much. I need you to just stay right here forever. I'm not going to let you go back because you put out great energy, and that's what it's all about. Yeah. We're all in this together. Yeah. I mean, really, we have a lot of stuff that goes on in the public policy space. If you watch the news a lot, sometimes you can get discouraged. There's so much good stuff that happens, and we have an opportunity to make more good stuff happen by doing what we're doing today. Absolutely. Sitting and having the dialogue, just talking about it. We have something called the huddle, where we just sit down and we talk about issues and have courageous conversations. I had one recently with Miss Opal Lee, the grandmother of Juneteenth, just to learn her story and to understand more about all of that. That's what we have to do. We have to do more of this.
Absolutely.
And then smile in the process.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cynt Marshall, thank you for the time.
Thank you. Go Mavs.